knowledge of what was on that debris field.
Wilcox got to see the debris himself when rancher Mac Brazel brought some to the sheriff's office. Smith wants to find out what else Wilcox might have told his family.
If you could, I'd like to hear about your connection to Sheriff George Wilcox.
I am Inez Wilcox and George Wilcox's granddaughter. My grandfather, George Wilcox, was a very kind and loving man. He tried to help the people that didn't have anything, because, you know, Roswell at that time wasn't a real prosperous city.
And when did you first hear about his connection to the events of July 1947?
In 1969, I was at my grandmother's house, Inez Wilcox, and it was the same day that they had landed on the moon. And that's when my grandmother told me about the Roswell incident.
And what did she say?
My grandmother got up from her seat and she closed the door, she locked it, she put the blinds down, and I looked at her, and that was not her behavior. She was very positive, very beautiful and wonderful. And she said, I have something that I must tell you, and you must promise me that you will never, ever, ever tell this story to anyone. If you do, we will all be killed. And she started telling the story to my sister Phyllis and I.
According to Barbara Dugar, when her grandfather got to the crash site, it was already surrounded by the military, and they weren't happy to see him.
My grandfather went out to see what had happened. When he got there, he saw the spaceship. The flying saucer had crashed outside of Roswell. There were aliens. And then she talked about the aliens and how they were dressed. Yes.
How were they dressed?
Well, they had on a silk suit, and they had the big eyes. She said there were little people walking around, and there were some dead and some alive. I mean, I just sat there and leaned back in my chair and thought.
Barbara Dugar believed, even more than the spaceship debris, it was the arrival of aliens on Earth that the military wanted to keep secret.
Then the military came and told him to go back to the office because there would be a lot of interviewing. They surrounded the courthouse, they came in, they roughed George Wilcox up in front of Big Mom. And she said a red-headed colonel came into the office and told Granddaddy, got him and told him, in no uncertain terms, if they told the story of the Roswell incident, that their family would be killed and all their grandchildren. I mean, they threatened them. And I said to her, I said, you really believe, Big Mom, that the military is going to come and kill all of us? And she said, yes, and they will.
It sounds like it really affected your grandmother.
Yes. She knew that they meant business. My grandmother, Inez Wilcox, and George Wilcox had been harassed. They had been threatened, and their lives had been changed. My grandfather went crazy, and my grandmother had to go through a lot of hell because of that.
How do you connect your grandfather's mental illness to the events of Roswell? What leads you to this conclusion?
My grandfather was perfectly normal. He wouldn't have been sheriff of Roswell.
Right. He was well respected from what I've read.
And after that, he was not normal ever again. Ever again. And if somebody from the government doesn't like it, well, that's just too dang bad. It is real. The Roswell incident is real.
It's a powerful story, and I will weigh it with the rest of my investigation, and hopefully we can get to truth.
People in America, in the world, need to know that the Roswell incident is real. And the government can't say it's not true. It's an air balloon, it's a weather balloon. It isn't. It was real.